How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to Games Over Explained. On today's episode, we are going to be reworking our brewery. I want to do a complete renovation. I think it's one of the more bland buildings, and we're trying to start to diversify a little more, so we're going to get started on that. If you have not seen the previous episodes of our Going Medieval series here in Wythenshawe, I am going to be leaving a link in the description so that you can get caught up. So the first thing we really need to do is sort out what we're going to do with everything inside, because it is a mess. So, this is mostly rough wine. I think there might be some beer, but that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to this stockpile, come over here, we're going to add a couple of things. We're going to do our structures, and we're going to say Brewing Station. Then we're going to come up here, grab our food, go to stimulants, and we're going to grab all of these. I don't think we have all of these. Actually, I'm pretty confident, considering mead and cider, I believe, are part of the new update, but we are going to allow them to store them there nevertheless. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to have them come through, and I want them to use this remove function. The remove function is going to turn these items into a stockpile item, similar to, what the rough wine looks like. And it just allows us to store it for later. That way we don't have to completely destroy it. I am going to go ahead and fast forward and let them get to it. While we're waiting on that, I do want to pop over to our limestone brick production and order about 15. That should be plenty for what we're trying to do here. It is going to be a bit of a involved construction because we have to destroy this building and then replace it with a new one. But the new design should be nice. I did it in a test build, and I'm pretty satisfied with how it turned out, so I'm excited to share it with you guys. So we are going to give them the opportunity to clear all this stuff out of here, and then we should be good to go. So I'll catch up with you here once they're clear. Alright, so now that they've finished clearing out the building, we get to do the fun part, or at least that's what HGTV would lead you to believe, and that is demo day. So we're going to go ahead and let them demolish all of this, make sure we didn't catch anything that we weren't supposed to. No, that looks good to me. We'll give them the opportunity to tear this down. It is going to be kind of a step-by-step process since there isn't a lot we can do in between. And so our next task is going to be demolishing some of our pathways and getting rid of some of these crops. All we're doing here is just pushing back this field a little bit. That way we have a little more room to breathe while we're building this. We're going to have to redo some of our crop, alignment in the future anyway. So now is the time to go ahead and start pulling this out. So we're going to pop into our crop field here, and we're going to grab our shrink zone tool and just bring this back like that. And then I want to bring this back like that. And that should give us enough room to be able to do what we need to do. The next thing is we're going to grab our harvest tool because we need to clear this stuff out of here. All we're doing is just creating more space and kind of relining our pathway. So once they're done with that, we'll be able to move forward. I am going to go ahead and clear these trees just preemptively. We'll grow back, and if not, we have some saplings now that we can use, but that should help us free up this space. And then we're going to come in here and reline this pathway along the crop field like it was originally. All right, and now that that's done, we're gonna grab our limestone path here and just bring it across. This creates kind of a parcel of land. That way we can work within it and know what our borders are. We do know that we need to come in. This should be 16 here. I'm gonna take a quick measurement. Yep, so that is 16. So we actually just need to bring this over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the 8 there is going to be our middle. And to denote that, we're going to bring across this guy here. And I just lost the measurement, so I have to do it again. So we're going to put in 2 limestone floors there just to show, hey, this is exactly where we want to be. This is our center, and we're going to be working out from there. Okay, and it is morning. I have gone ahead and told them to clear out the rest of this. I didn't realize that there was still some leftovers here that we needed to get taken care of. So we are going to start building. So let's go ahead and grab our limestone block wall. The first thing we're going to do is grab these and place them like this, 2 deep. And that is going to serve as our first kind of entryway to the new building. We're actually going to bring them back 2 more. And the reason for this is we are going to plop doors in like that. That way they go ahead and do the doors. I'm going to fill in that last area there that I didn't quite grab earlier. And then we're going to build the outline of our building. And so to do this, we know that we want our building to be 10 wide and 12 deep. We already have 4 here, which means that we have a remaining 6, which means we just need to bring this out 3 like that. And that should cover us. So to get our 12 depth, we should just be able to grab this and bring it back 11 like so. And then we should be able to bring this across and line it up and just get this all pulled together like so. And that should get us squared away on that front. The next thing we're going to do is grab some limestone block arches, and we are going to place them like that. All right, now they've got the outline of our building complete. So the next thing we need to do is come in here and get some flooring down on the first floor. I say first floor because we are going to have a second floor, but I came up with a design that I think is just a little different and looks a little nicer, at least in my opinion. We are going to grab our wooden floor and take it across like so. And that should get us taken care of. The next thing we're going to need to do is grab some wooden beams. And we're going to place those on the 3rd block in on both of these walls. We're doing this because we are going to need to put a floor upstairs, and we just want to make sure that we have enough stability built in so that we don't run into any issues down the line. It's going to take them a few minutes to get done, but we can go ahead and keep moving forward with the build. So the next thing we're going to do is grab our clay bricks. And this is where things get a little interesting. We're going to take our clay bricks and we're going to bring it out and build an outline around like this. And that's going to serve as part of our upper floor. I wanted to give you guys an idea of what we're looking at here. The next thing we're going to need to do is place floors inside. So let's go ahead and get started on that. And I have gone ahead and canceled these 2 blocks that I put here in the center on accident. It was a mistake on my part, but I wanted to point that out. I am going to give them the opportunity to build out this floor because we are going to need it for the rest of the build. Okay, and they've got the floor in for the second floor, so now we can move on with the rest of our build. We should be able to do this number here. And we are going to make some changes to this design once it's up, but for the purposes of, playing nice with the game's physics, we are going to need to make sure that we square this up real good and just get the walls in place before we start making any changes. The next thing we can go ahead and do is grab our wooden doors, and we're just gonna pop them in there and there. And that should get us squared away on that front. I also wanna go ahead and grab flooring, but we are going to use limestone block floor up here, and that's just going to come across like that. We're also going to use limestone block stairs, and they're going to come in like this and like this. And of course we have run out of clay brick already. Let's take a look and see what our clay brick situation is looking like. We might have to wait a little bit just to get some build up going again. Yeah, so we have 20 on order still. I don't think that's going to be enough to complete this project, considering we're going to need more for the roof. So we might be stuck doing this for a while. It may not be a bad idea just to slap down a temporary kiln, just to kind of speed this process up. We can go ahead and just come over here, grab the I've still got bees on the mind from last week. And we're going to pop a kiln in here. It's just kind of out there. That's fine. We just need it built, we need production going, and we need to make sure that we can move forward with this. Oh, this limestone floor is barely hanging in there. Hopefully somebody repairs that soon. And they have finished up this secondary kiln, so I am going to go ahead and put it in order. It just needs to be generating some bricks for us. The bricks tend to take way longer than the limestone bricks do, just I guess because the kiln is on a timer and it's way faster for them to be able to produce it using the table that we have tucked in over here. So hopefully it goes along pretty quick. It would be nice to be able to get this knocked out pretty quickly. All right, so it is morning, and there are some other things that we could be working on while we're waiting for this brick production. So I want to draw some attention to it. There is some details that I managed to miss on the previous episode, talking about kind of making sure that everything was up to snuff for the newest update. And the thing that I missed was that all of our shelves don't have any of the new items enabled. I didn't check these, and so I didn't realize that that was going to be the case. But now we're in a situation where we're producing things like honey and beeswax, and we don't have a place to store it. So I need to go through and make sure I can find all of this stuff, wherever it might be, and make sure that I grab it. So let's do honey here, and that will take care of the honey. And then we need to try and track down beeswax, wherever that is. Wow, that was really difficult to find, but it had occurred to me that it might be considered a material, which means that it can't be put on the shelves. And I was right, it has to go on the stockpile on the ground. So what we're actually going to do is, instead of putting the beeswax and tallow in here, we're going to put it in our dry storage, because I don't think that it's going to be a major issue. So what I do need to go ahead and do is grab the information on this shelf and copy and paste it on all of our shelves down here, which will take me a minute. So hang tight while I get that done. Wow, that took a long time. It would be really nice, you like I've said before, you can double select here and it grabs all of these shelves that are over here, but I can't really adjust the settings of it. So Foxy Voxel, if any of you guys are watching this, that would be amazing, especially as you add new items, to be able to kind of go through and change those settings globally. So let's go ahead, and now that that is done, pop on over to our other stockpile here, and we're just going to grab this, go under material, under manufactured, and we're going to say that you can put tallow and beeswax here. Neither of these should be affected by weather, but we can check this pretty easily by popping over to our beeswax piles in our bee hut. And it looks like, no, it's probably not going to be any trouble to have those on the stockpile. So we'll also go ahead and set this to allow all seeds. We are going to need a place to store seeds, but for now, this will be a fine place to store it, and that should take care of that. Okay, it is morning again, so we can finally move on to finishing up some of the last stuff that I missed out on the last episode. Part of that was what I pointed out at the end of the episode, that I needed to actually fix these floors, because I put my panic structures in and did not go back through and replace them. And then we're also going to go ahead and set up the candles to be able to be built, and we should have that candle built over here. Yep, there it is. And then we should be able to use either tallow or beeswax. We should only have beeswax, but I'm going to go ahead and set all of these to use all of them. Oh, they're already set. Excellent. So they'll just come over and light them once they actually get the beeswax situation managed over at the bee house. So, oh, there's one last one. Sorry, almost forgot. We got to take these two panels off because I put the wrong roof on the church, and it looks really weird, not a place. So I'm gonna let them go ahead and come up here and get rid of that, and then we'll be able to drop these new regular limestone floors on here. All right, and that's done. We can drag it across. Done. All right, cleaned up all of that. We don't have to worry about it any longer. Actually, since we have our bee hut over here, I'm almost tempted to go ahead and put some torches up on the wall like that, and that should get us taken care of there. Can we unlock decorative banners yet? Only 15. Let's go ahead and order that. I think it's finally time to do decorative banners. I keep putting it off. I've been putting it off for a very, very long time. So we'll go ahead and order these, get that taken care of. They should be excited to go over and research, and then we can put some banners up around just to really kind of push forward that cleaning up Wythenshawe initiative that we're trying to do. We're trying to grow the town, make it look a little more developed and late stage, and what a better time to do it than with all the new varieties that we have afforded to us from the mod pack. So the next thing we're gonna do, now that we've got a little bit of a clay brick surplus, is continue building our brewery. So to do this, we're going to grab our roof, and we're going to use a clay shingle roof. This is just going to come across like this and all the way back. Pretty simple. Shouldn't be a shock to anyone. And we also need to grab our limestone floors and add them there to those stairs that go up. These stairs are a little precarious because they don't have guardrails, but I guess, they're probably used to it. I don't know if guardrails have been invented yet. I would assume so. All right, now that it's morning, we can keep moving forward on some of these additions. We do need to drop some torches on here like this. So we're just going to drop those in, and they should be built pretty quickly. We're going to have to do a little bit of modification on our variations, and they're almost done with this roof. So So let's go ahead and start decorating the building a little bit. I'm gonna add in these little two-tone guys like this with the altered brick, and that should get us started. I'm gonna go ahead and also pop in these corners. Now you guys can see the general premise of what it's going to look like, and the next thing to do is go ahead and finish this around the corners. I think this building looks really clean. This was about as close to, I guess, a banded, it's hard to describe, but a banded, look where it has these horizontal wood panels on it on top of the brick. It's kind of the look I had in my head, but this was about as good as it was going to get. So we're going to go ahead and grab our windows as well, and I want to pop them in there in those little center pieces. And then we're also going to find our center here, which should be there. And we're gonna put these into those guys like that. And we're also gonna grab windows and square them up like so. I think I put too many over here. Yep, I did. All right, let's cancel this guy. We only need the one in the center there. We're not gonna have any on the back side, and we're gonna go ahead and try and find our center again over here, which should be here. Grab the banded or whatever we want to call these guys like that and put them in the center, and then we're going to grab our windows once again and finish filling this out, center those like so, and that should get that taken care of. And the next thing we're going to do is grab the front of this clay shingle roof, and I want to do, if I can find which one it is. All right, now that it's morning, I was fighting with this roof trying to figure out how exactly I had done this originally, and I think I finally got it sorted. So we actually need to turn this like that, and that is all. And then we're gonna grab this other variation here, and we're gonna turn that into limestone. We need to also come around to the back of the building and make sure to turn that to limestone as well, just to continue fitting our overall aesthetic on the building. And that's going to do it. That is our new brewery. And I hope that you feel that it does look substantially better than the old one. I personally think it does. And I think it kind of pulls in some views of kind of some fantasy style medieval taverns. That was kind of the aesthetic I was going for. So naturally, it's just a building currently. It's not truly a brewery until we're done putting things in here. So the first thing I want to do is grab a stockpile, and we're going to create a place for all of our alcohol to go. So we're going to clear all of this, come into stimulants and turn that on. And that means we need to come over here and turn all of our stimulants off. That should force them to start storing all of the alcohol here in this basement area or on the first floor. And that should provide our quote unquote above ground storage for all of our alcohol. So the next thing we want to do is get our production set up on this second floor. To do that, we're going to pop over to our stockpile and find our brewing stations, and we're just going to set them to install. We are going to have to kind of bounce back and forth here, so let's go ahead and put these in place. I do want to tuck them into the corners to start like that, and then we'll just keep doing this over and over. All right, and we have our production facilities put in place, so now we just need to go through and add, you guessed it, some iron wall torches. It is not going to be perfectly centered, and it will drive me a little crazy, but that's okay. I think all in all, it's gonna look nice. I'm happy about it. And we'll go ahead and plop these in these walls like that. That should cover us. Yep. And I just realized that we added these new torches, but we didn't set the material to only sticks. So we need to go through and do that real quick. That way we're not burning up useful stuff like coal and wood. All right, and that'll do it on that project. So we should be squared away with our brewery. Of course, here comes a hailstorm. I think it looks amazing, but we are gonna move on for some other things. We should have cleared the bee house, not the beer house. I got beer on the brain since we're talking about breweries. We should have the bee house cleared out, and it looks like everything's good to go there. And we have fixed our church. So that leaves only one last thing to do, which means I have to go collect some more limestone. So let me get some of that going, and then we'll be able to continue forward. All right, we've made enough limestone available to be able to start on this project. So what I wanted to do, this is definitely one of those things where I'm just trying to make things look a little more aesthetic. We are going to, like I said, redesign a lot of this field, so we're probably not going to touch this one, but I will go ahead and touch this one, which is our cabbage field. And of course, we don't have enough seeds to sow as of now. It's another problem for another day, but we are going to delete this outer edge like that. And then I'm going to come over here and I am going to go under miscellaneous. We're going to grab a fence, do a limestone fence. And then I'm going to, oh, we have a merchant coming in. Maybe I can buy some seeds from him. We're just going to take this fence and bring it across like this. It's going to look a little weird at first. And that's just because we have to change these to the corners and do the variations like that. And there's all sorts of different variations you can do, but really all we need are these corners. So I'm going to go ahead and plop these in, make sure that they are correct. I can't tell with that one because it's still being built, but we'll go ahead and let them do that. And then we'll actually go ahead and cancel this because I got a little overzealous and there wasn't a way to access the field. So I think we'll go ahead and leave it at that. And that should get us squared away. I am going to go ahead and do the same thing to the rest of these fields. We'll have to figure out what we want to do about this guy. This was our herb field, but of course we no longer have herb seeds. All right, so it is morning. We're going to go ahead and try and clean this up. One other thing I wanted to do is we are going to need to shrink the size of our tree farm over here because I think that we just have a little too much and they need to go ahead and plant the saplings that we do have. Hopefully they'll stay on top of it as they continue to cut it back. We are going to need to use some sticks in the future as well. So I'm going to go ahead and have them kind of shave a little bit off there, just a little bit. That way we can get moving. I am going to go ahead and shrink this field and do the same thing that I have been doing, which is just kind of putting this fence around the edge. And it just cleans up the look. It makes it look really nice. I am going to have them come through and cut these guys down. And we're also going to have to get rid of our flax field. So let's go ahead and destroy that. We'll figure out something else to do with this in the future. We're going to try and rework our farms a little bit. That way we have a lot of food built up that we've kind of built up over time. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to kind of get back to where we were in terms of agriculture. But the new update has made it so that everything requires seeds, which at first glance makes it just a little more cumbersome than it was before, but I honestly think they're kind of taking the game in a better direction. As it stands, you do end up hitting a point in this game where you kind of done it all, and there's not a lot more to do. And so I think that a lot of the quality of life improvements that they've been putting out have been pretty substantial, at least in my opinion. And so I've been happy with them. I'm not going to complain too much about them trying to make the game a little more survivally and add a little more complexity to the game mechanics. I think it's all in all a good thing. So that should square off our farms over here. We are going to need to do something about this over here. That's probably going to be another project for another day. And then this was our herb field. We'll probably just keep this small like it is, and we'll grab our shrink tool once again. And it is morning once again, and I noticed, thanks to this helpful shrub, that there was one little flaw in my plan. There was a potential where if we did not put a path down here, it would let stuff grow and therefore block the access to these little fields. So I am going to go ahead and plop in a block that should, a floor panel that should help reduce the risk a little bit in the future. And I think that looks good. I mean, besides the fact that they're barren and that one's backwards. Okay, besides that, I think it looks good. So I'm pretty happy with that. We'll work on getting more crops taken care of in the future. I need to buy some of these and try and hunt down what I can from the others. And then of course we need to like kind of redo our entire design over here. I'm thinking we'll probably square it up since this is the brewery and we mostly use these berries to produce rough wine. I think we'll probably take that approach because we are going to need to start producing more rough wine here in the near future. But that is a project for another day. There is one last thing that I want to do before we wrap up, and that is unlock the decorative banners. It's about time. We've needed it for a while. We've not really been doing a lot with decoration, and it's kind of time to start. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab, let's see, the wall large. Yeah, that looks good. Let's come over here and we will just plop those on our bee house. And then we can also grab one of these large banners. Oh, of course, right before we're almost done, we get attacked. That's always how it works out, you know. So we'll deal with this raid real quick, I guess, and kind of move on from there. I do like the idea of doing more large banners. Let's see, what do these little ones look like? That's not what I wanted. There we go. Yeah, the medium banners look good. We'll put them on the church since they are loyal to Wythenshawe. So here come our enemies. Let's see, where is everybody at? Ah, we have folks outside. Were they collecting stuff? They were. Okay, so we're gonna have to try and turtle here again because I still haven't done our trying to build up our offense episode just yet. It might be something to do, you know, in combination with some other things. I'd like to do an armory at some point. I just need to sort out where exactly I want to put that. So we'll mull on that a little bit and see where we end up. But I am gonna wait for these guys to try and get over here. Let's see where they're at currently. Oh yeah, they're pathing. They're finding their way over here. It's gonna take them forever, but they don't seem to have an issue. So we're gonna do the same thing we always do. Kind of sit here and play whack-a-mole with these guys. We should be able to just grab them, press T, move them back. And hopefully I can keep everybody from actually getting in the line of sight here. Now Cinnamon can actually reach at that range, so he might be safer to kind of tuck over farther away from the main entrance. All right, and that's gonna do it for today's episode. So let's review very quickly what we accomplished today. We have completely rebuilt our brewery, and I think it looks fantastic. It really looks sharp against the skyline of Wythenshawe, and I'm excited that I was able to bring this to you guys. So let me know in the comments what you think of the building. Is it a hit? Is it a miss? Is there anything that you would do differently? I'd love to hear it. Some of the other things we knocked out real quick were just building some fences around our fields. That way when we start planting again, we have a more controlled area to account for things like crop blight and being able to control the size of our fields a little bit. We are going to revisit the red currants at some point, but currently they're just kind of not on the menu. The other thing we did is add these beautiful banners that are flying our lovely crest of Wythenshawe everywhere that we could proudly. We will add some more in the future, but this is all we really had time for currently, so I think it looks perfect. The other thing we did is knock out a couple more of these little, leftover items from the update and some of the work that we did previously, including in the crypt. And that also includes the work that we did in our storage facility. That way we could clean up and make sure that we're storing our beeswax and our honey. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing. We do release at least 2 videos a week around here, so you should have plenty to watch. But that's gonna do it for today's episode. This was Games Over Explained, playing Going Medieval, and we'll see you next time.